Hello there and welcome to ADcraft. Today I'm going to be showing you the second part of the tutorial for this fantastic futuristic dome base. If you haven't already, make sure you check out part 1. I will pop a card in the video right about now. And also make sure that you do hit that subscribe button if you don't already, as you don't want to miss out on future builds like all of these. So without any further ado, let's get back onto the building. Here are the materials you'll need for the build. Now you could replace the sea lanterns with either some shroom lights or some glowstone if you wished, and alternatively as well to some of the smooth quartz you could use some of the white concrete in order to actually do flooring and some of the blocks that aren't visible, but make a note of what you do need and start collecting. Now we're going to start working on the second level and the dome. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to this line of sea lanterns and we are going to put 2 layers of smooth quartz. Now the bottom layer, I've used smooth quartz here just because it's easier and because I'm in creative, but actually you can't see this bottom layer from anywhere, so you could exchange that for any other block that you wanted in the game. But yeah, like I say, I'm going to be using smooth quartz and we're just going to run this literally 2 high all the way around the build. Now we've got the quartz wall, we are going to start building the area that comes into the build and that the dome sits on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come out 2 blocks. Now for the second block I'm just going to use a cyan concrete. It's actually going to be a quartz. I'm going to replace this at the end, but it's just easier to see where we're starting. So from that block, which is the center block, we're going to come out 3, then again using a temporary block we're going to come in 1 and then across 3 more. Then another temporary block, we're going to come across 2 more this time, then a temporary block and then 2 more here. 1 more temporary block, and then we've got a diagonal block here like so. And as you can see, this brings us to the halfway point. Now we're just going to repeat the same going the other way. So again, with a temporary block, we've got the 1 diagonal block coming through, another temporary block, and we'll come out with then the 2 blocks like so. And then stepping round again, 2 more blocks this side. This time it's the 3 once we put the temporary block in, and then 1 more temporary block, which then gives us the 3. 1, 2, 3. And if we place a sea lantern here, then you'll see that we're lined up. So we'll carry on the same pattern of 3, 3, 2, 2, and then a 1. And then it'll be 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, and we'll carry that round all the way. And yeah, we'll fill this in. So what we're going to do again is this is then going to be filled in all the way on the inside like this as well. So we're going to have like a little platform basically. So fill that in all the way around and then we will get on to the next step. For the next stage of the build, we are going to do what we did on this bottom layer with the stairs and with the terracotta in part 1. And how we're going to do that is we are firstly going to run a line of terracotta so it has a full block distance. And what I mean is that wherever we've got a corner, we're going to come out 1 block and bring it round like so, all the way around the build like this. And we're going to bring that out in the middle block, the one above these sea lanterns here, like this. And that's going to go all the way around on top of here as well. So once we've done that all the way, and I'll just finish off this corner to show you, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get some stairs and we're going to place upside down stairs all the way along on the underside of this terracotta. Now when we get to these corners, we're going to curve the stairs round like this, so they literally follow the shape of the build as we are placing those, and those will come round like this all the way until we get to the point where they should, and it's a little bit fiddly, get 1 in here, there it is, 1 in there and 1 round like that, so it links up to what we've got on the bottom in terms of the quartz. We're then going to do exactly the same along the top, but this time we obviously haven't got anything in the way like we have got the walkways, so we just carry that round, just going back and forth with the stairs, making sure they all link up. And it gives this really, really nice effect when you do that, of just a really nice curve coming around the build. So yeah, do that all the way around the build. The next thing to do is we are going to then mirror exactly the same places that we've got the sea lanterns on the layer beneath. So wherever you've got a sea lantern here, We're going to take that out. We're going to place a sea lantern. So there's one on this corner. There's then one just inside this corner. And then the final one is just there. And then that will then be carried on the other side from here. So yeah, complete that all the way around the build. And then on the inside, we are going to start filling in this space. So we're going to do that by placing some of the terracotta, whatever color you're using. For me, it's cyan, along the inside like so, just so you can see it from the interior of the build. And that's going to go through. I'll just run through that for a full quarter. Then we're going to fill in any gaps that we leave with some of the smooth quartz going back around the build on this side. And that gives us the bit that you can see then from the exterior of the build and keeps it all nice and neat and tidy. Once we've done that, we're going to run another line of the smooth quartz right on top of this terracotta that we've just placed. And we're going to run that round like so. And that is going to be then the basis that we're going to start building from for the dome. So complete those 3 blocks in that L shape all the way round, and then we'll start thinking about some of the lighting and the dome itself. The sea lanterns are going to go in this top layer that we've just placed, and it's going to, the first one be in the middle of this block here, middle of this section of 7 blocks rather. We're then going to place the next sea lantern on this corner, and then the next one on this corner here. So we've got a 3 block gap between the sea lanterns here, then it's going to switch to being 2 blocks. So we've got 2 blocks, and then a sea lantern just there, 2 blocks and a sea lantern just here, sea lantern there, and then back to 3 blocks for the other side. And that gives us nice spacing all the way around the build and should help us when we start building up the dome. Now we have the task of building the giant dome. However, the method we're going to use is exactly the same as we did on the little dome. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to build a framework of blocks that bring us over to the center and then create the different quarters. And then we're going to work in each of these quarters to build up the dome itself, the full thing. So first thing that we're going to do is it's just going to be a flipped version of what we did on the sides. So with the glass, we're going to go 3 blocks here, and then we're going to use a temporary block, and then we're going to place inwards 3 blocks up like so, then another temporary block, then 2 blocks. Get rid of that one. I'll leave the temporary blocks in so you can see them nice and easily, because the glass doesn't always show up brilliantly on film. And then a temporary block, and then 2 more. And now this point here, we're going to have a temporary block with 1 glass in diagonally, and then that's basically an 1/8. We've got to then flip that round and start moving back to the center. So we move back the other way. So we've got then a single block diagonally, then another temporary block, 2 coming out this way rather than up this time, another block, 2 more coming out like so, another block, 3 more, 1 final temporary block here, and then 3 more just like this. And all being well, when we put the sea lantern in the middle there, you'll see that it lines up perfectly. I'll do it by just using the joys of gravity to fall off and go right next to the sea lantern that we've got there. So that now lines up perfectly. So all you do is build up each of those quadrants to match up in the same place, and once you've done it, you can obviously get rid of these temporary blocks, and that will then give us the framework that we can work from in order to fill in the rest of the glass. And there is a lot of glass for us to fill in. So as we did on the smaller dome, we're just going to work in each of these quarters, and I'm going to show you how to place the blocks for each of these levels. So each time we've got one of these levels, then we're going to set 1 set of these blocks. So firstly, on this one, what we're going to do is we are going to build ourselves 3 and 3, so a big L, and then in that we're going to build a little L. So what we've got is basically 3 by 3, but without this corner. So to show you again over on this bit, we're going to go 3 and by 3, but without the corner. And the last one, of course, remember that you do have to do it 3 times in each quarter, and then 4 times overall. So you'll be doing this step 12 times. So you'll be brilliant at it by the end. So what we're going to do is build that big L and then the little L, which gives us this 3 by 3 with the missing quarter. So yeah, fill those blocks in on all of the other sides, and then we'll get to the next slice. And for this, we're going to start with a 3x3 here, which is going to be the basis. We're then going to have a 3x3 here as well, like so, and they'll touch on the corners if you've done it right. And then you fill in that little gap, and then just do a small L shape in the apex, the bit where they link up. So that gives you the shape that you want, just going round, down, and across. And I'll show you again in the other two places. So we've got a 3x3 here, 3x3 on this edge, fill in the gap, and then the L shape just in that little gap there. And the last one, again, 3x3, and again, fill in the little hole, and then the L shape, and that is the next stage done. For the first of the two wide sections, we're going to get our glass, and we're going to go on a 3x2, so that's going to come up level with this block first of all, and then we're also going to come out here with a 3x2 so it's level. Then we're going to build ourselves a 2x2 here, like this, and another one on this side, like so. We've got a little gap where they touch in the corner, we're going to fill in, and we're going to fill in a single block here. So there you go, we've got that. I'll show you again just to make sure we've got it. We've got a 3x2 on this section. Coming up and across, we've got a 3x2 on this section. Then moving over, we have this 2x2 that sticks out. And again, the secret for these is the patterns that you're doing. When you do them, your eye can quite easily see when you've made mistakes. So just whenever you do, sort of step back and have a look if something is not going right. These 2x2s will then touch, so you can fill in the corner and then the block on the other side as well. And then the last one up here, we're bringing both of these out on a 3x2 rather. Then we've got the 2x2. The other thing to look out for is, again, we're not looking for any blocks to be overlapping like this. They should all be touching on the corners, and then everything should line up. And so that is the next stage done. Next, we have quite a simple stage. So firstly, we're going to place 2 blocks here and 2 blocks here. And then we're simply going to run the glass along so it's touching at each of the corners but not overlapping, all the way around until it connects back up with the bit that we just did at the bottom, like so. And so we'll do the same here, 2 blocks and your 2 blocks, and then bring this out, making sure to place the glass in the right places. That does help. And round, down and across, and connecting up with this section just here. And the last one for the middle is, again, 2 blocks there, 2 blocks there, and then just run the glass up and round, back and forth. Nearly done now. Making sure not to overlap, of course. And as you can see, that's starting to really bring in and reduce the gap. With that done in each of the 4 corners, we are going to move on to the next one. And the next one, we are going to again be following the edge of this block. And we're going to do that until we get to this 2 long section. So once it moves to a 1, we're going to leave that for now. And we're going to come across and do it from the other side. And the reason that we're going to leave that is because we do, at this point, need a temporary block. So these don't actually connect up. So what we'll do is we will place a temporary block here. And then that allows us to place, not that, on the sides, the 3 that we need. Once we take out that temporary block, that gives us all that we need in terms of the shape. So I'll show you again on this side. This comes up and round and across up until we get to the edge of this 2 long section, and then we do the same here, across and down the 2 long section. Then on this very edge one, we place a temporary block, and then we just put 3 glass around that and get rid of that one. And the final one up here, glass coming around, 1 more, there we go, to that section, and same from this side, and in again once more, there we go. And then that means that we've got this pointy bit that we can place the temporary block against, surround it with the glass and get rid of it. Now we're going to put a temporary block in the corner and then have 3 glass coming off that, and temporary block in this corner here, 3 glass. And finally a temporary block down at the bottom here in the corner, and again 3 glass just coming up like so. So you can see those, and then obviously we've just got this chunk that we're going to do now. And for that we're going to place 2 temporary blocks this time, so either side of this piece of glass. And that's going to allow us to build out, and we're going to build this kind of wiggly S shape and do the same on the underside like so. So you've got this kind of pincer shape coming off, and we'll do that on this side as well, where you've got this central bit sticking out. You place your 2 temporary blocks, then you come out by 2, go across by 1, and bring that one along. So basically you are again shadowing the edge of the block here, and then the final one down here at the bottom. So 2 temporary blocks, and we will place these up on both the sides, and they both come out and up 1 block like so. That then brings us to this final section that we have, which is exactly the same shape that we had in the little domes that we made. So first things first, we will place an extra temporary block in each of the corners, and that allows us to place a block down and shrink this hole yet further. Then we've just got these 3 blocks to place. Again, we place a temporary block here, fill in that gap, a temporary block somewhere around here, fill in that gap, and then we've got 1 more gap here. So 1 more temporary block is all we need. We fill this in and then take these out of the way, and you've got your completed giant superdome. So yeah, all you need to do for that last stage is repeat it on the other sides, and then we've got our dome complete. Now that we're stuck inside our finished dome, well, there's a couple of little steps that we need to make before we break our way out and create an entrance. And the first of those is to pick one of these sides. It doesn't matter which, because we're going to do the same on all of the sides. And we're going to come here and we're going to start taking out some of these glass blocks and replacing them with some other blocks for some of the detailing for the dome. And we're going to do that by taking out a 3x3 directly above this sea lantern firstly, and replacing that with the concrete, whatever colour you happen to be using. Then either side of that, we're going to take out 3 blocks and place some smooth quartz around and down like this. Above it, in the centre of those blocks, we'll take that out and we'll place a sea lantern. Then we're going to knock the ones around it out and wrap some smooth quartz around the edge. And then up until this block here, so 1, 2, 3 and 4 in a direct line from this, we're then also going to replace those with quartz. So that's the detail that you'll get on the inside of the build, and we'll deal with the outside of the build in a second, but make sure you do that on all of the 4 sides. Now before we get to the entrance, there's just a couple of bits that we're going to do inside, and the first of them is we're actually going to link this up. So just so that we can have the blocks going all the way around like this, I'm just going to link up so we've got a full line all coming all the way round. Obviously this one was already there and I didn't need to do that at all, but yeah, we'll have this full line that then goes round with the cyan terracotta, because it just adds a bit of breaking up to what is otherwise a big white space. Once we've done that, and coming here, we're going to add a floor in. Now I'm going to be adding my floor at this level here on the cyan terracotta, and I'm going to be using a slab to do that, so you can still see the line of cyan from underneath, which looks quite nice. However, if you did want to, you could either make your floor higher or lower, even as low as this point here on the sea lanterns, or as high as this line here. And what that means is you could either add more floors into this build, or alternatively you could make yourself a hollow floor, which would allow you to put some redstone in there, keeping the minimalist look that you have in Futuristic, but actually still being able to have some redstone contraption. So it's entirely up to you. However, like I say, I'm just going to be doing it here, bringing out a floor like this. Once I get 1 more block level with the cyan terracotta on the floor beneath, we're going to have a nice sort of, this is going to be a bit of a mezzanine. You're going to have a balcony looking down at this, and we're just going to then follow the blocks that we've got on the floor beneath with the blocks that we've got up here. And that's all that we're doing, is literally just coming in, making sure that we have everything that we need in place. And this then should, if we've done it right, and link up the last few blocks mean that this is directly above the sea lantern down here. So we're going to build this circle in the middle and fill in the entire floor with the slabs like so. Now that we've built this all the way round, and we've got the lovely second floor, and we can see down here, the one thing we need to make sure that we don't do is fall off. So we're going to use some of the cyan stained glass panes, and we're just going to run this right on top of all of the cyan terracotta that we've got here, or whatever colour that you happen to be using, because this build will work really well in any colour that you choose, really. So we're going to fill this in all the way around, and then we're going to work on the entrance so we can actually get out of the building. From the ground floor of the build, it also looks brilliant with the balcony in place, and if you did want to build yourself some stairs, you could either build some stairs or a bubble vator potentially that goes up into the second floor and however many other floors that you wanted. But now we're going to actually make ourselves an entrance, so we've got to pick one of these lovely directions that we're going to use, and I'm going to go this way, I think. So first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take out all of the blocks for a 3 wide section that goes right the way through up until this second line of sea lanterns here. We'll also need to take out the stairs that we have here already as well, and in between these 2 sets of sea lanterns we are going to replace those for the doorway with some smooth quartz blocks as well. Outside the build, we're going to make a couple of adjustments so that we can actually get up to the build now. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take out the 2 stairs either side of the doorway, which exposes these sea lanterns, and then we're also going to take out the stairs at the bottom. We'll place some quartz in there, and then we are going to place 4 of the quartz first of all, coming out like this, all the way along for those. And then on this side, we're going to place some cyan terracotta like this. We're then going to place another 4 quartz like this just on the floor with the cyan terracotta for now, although we will be putting some sea lanterns in. And we're going to dig out a 3x2 here and put in some of the smooth quartz like this. And then we are going to use some slabs and create ourselves a nice sloping entranceway to get up to the build itself. For the next step, we are going to take out the stairs that sit above the doorway, and we're going to take some of our smooth quartz and build up a pillar that goes from the ground to the top just up here. We're also going to add in some sea lanterns here, so we've got 1, 2, 3 blocks here, and then we're going to have a sea lantern, then 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to have a sea lantern here, so we'll do that on both of the sides. We're also going to replace these 2 end blocks with some quartz. So this quartz is going to go here, and then it's going to go 2 higher as well. Now the next stage will be that we're going to add in some glass. So we're just going to add in some cyan stained glass all the way along like that on both sides. The next step we're going to do is we're going to put a stair here and a stair here, and then one next to it as well like this. And then we're going to put a quartz block just next to that on both sides. We're then going to fill in a line of the glass going across on both the sides like so, and then we are going to fill in some more of the steps. So we're going to fill in 4 of these steps before we place another quartz block. So I'll do that again on this side, 4 of the steps and then another quartz block. We'll just fill in this last glass that we've got here, and then we're going to place 2 more of the stairs on either side. Now this shows us the shape that we're going to then be adopting, and we can fill this in the middle, which is using the full quartz blocks. We'll bring this out to this level. Then we're going to be using some of the slabs, which is going to be 2 sets of the slabs. Then we're going to be using some of the quartz blocks again, and as you can see, we're stepping down in the same increments that we've got on the stairway going up to it. And then finally we've got 2 sets of the slabs like this. Now we're just going to add some final detail to this on the inside, so we're going to place an upside down stair here and here with a sea lantern in between, and then coming up here as well to the second step up with the roof, we're also going to smooth that out using some stairs and some sea lanterns. And that is now the entrance finished, and now we just have some of the detailing on the side of the dome. For this detail, we're going to start by placing a cyan concrete just here in front of the sea lantern that we've got in the front. We're now then going to place ourselves 5 of the quartz going across like this, and we're going to place ourselves a stair here and a stair on the side, with another stair facing in on the other side as well. We're then going to place 2 quartz up the sides like so, and at this point we need to just make a quick adjustment to what we've got. So what we had here was a full quartz block. We're going to switch this out on both sides for a quartz stair, and the reason that we're going to do that is so when we do that it will connect up, but it still doesn't leave any holes on the inside of the build itself. Now we're going to place some quartz up and over the top of this cyan concrete that we have here. We're then also going to place 1 on either side, and moving to some stairs, we're going to place a stair upside down here, a stair upside down here, and 3 stairs along the top like so. This leaves us a little gap which we are going to light up by placing 4 end rods in. The final stage of this is to add 2 quartz here, a quartz here, and 2 quartz here. Now we're just going to take some stairs again to finish this off by placing a stair there and a stair either side like this. So as you can see, it just adds a little bit of visual interest and looks like the dome is being held in. So repeat that on the other side and then we are done. The build's now complete, so let's have a quick look through the interior that I've put in this, just to give you some ideas, because a lot of people have been asking for it in the past. So the first thing you'll notice is we come down the middle and we've got ourselves a lovely enchanting setup with some storage just around it, and by covering the enchanting setup in some trapdoors, then you can cover up the wooden look, which obviously doesn't fit into the futuristic aesthetic. So the one other thing that you might notice is that there aren't any workstations, and that is because they are all hidden alongside some ender chests under these trapdoors that have got some buttons. So whatever you need is available just there at the click of a button. Then moving up here, we've got ourselves some villagers. Those are held in place by some glass panes above their heads, and their workstations are again hidden nicely away. Now you could get a texture pack or something if you wanted to make your villagers look a bit more futuristic, and there's a lot more room. I've just put a few in to demonstrate where they could go really. Then we come down here and we've obviously got some very lucrative crops planted here. We've got some green stuff, we've got some more green stuff, we've got some more green stuff, and we've got some red stuff as well. So I did try to keep it in the futuristic aesthetic. Obviously you could use normal crops, they would probably be a bit more useful, but in terms of demonstrating what you could put in here, I thought that was quite a good way to do it. Heading further around the base, we have got, you'll notice there, a little drop chute, and we've got a couple of bubble elevators which will take us up to the 2nd level, which I'll show you in a second. And then I've just set up a really simple futuristic, kind of very minimalist sleeping setup. So what we've got here is some beds, and just using some slabs around them to take away really anything that's wood. So for interiors, anything that doesn't fit with a futuristic look, just try and cover it up as much as you can. And one of the nice touches that I've put in here is some automatic chairs. So as soon as you sit on the chair, the back comes up for you. And then of course, where you've got plants, you need to have some squiggly green stuff again. So let's head out to the last 2 of the domes to see what I've put in here. So this one here is just a very basic setup for some smelting. So what we've got is a couple of furnaces that will feed into the shulker boxes down there, and then also hiding some other shulker boxes, so you can put the stuff you want smelted in here, you can put your fuel in here, and it keeps away all the things like the hoppers, and you can just get quite a nice clean look. Now if I was going to do this properly, what I would probably do is have a full underground smelting setup that you couldn't see at all, and you just had the input chests on this level. But yeah, to give you an idea of what you could put in there, you could put some smelting in there. And then the final one in these domes, we have some livestock. And of course, what kind of livestock would you have in the future? Well, you'd clearly have colour changing sheep, and of course you'd have strange cows with mushrooms on their backs with some mycelium there. So unfortunately, again, you can't get rid of the green. If you wanted to actually have the sheep, I could have just put them in the pen without it, but yeah, you can always obviously make some changes and get some texture packs for those. But I thought, again, it was representative of the space that you have available. And then finally, let's have a look upstairs. Oh, one of the other things before we do go upstairs that I've got here is the fact that don't forget you can put a beacon going through an enchanting table because it's not a full block. So by having that beacon in there, it kind of covers up the enchanting table and means that you can have a beacon effect or multiple beacon effects if you wanted to put several of them in right the way through your base. So that's good. And then we head up here to the final section. And here we've just got a very, very basic brewing setup with some chests or some shulkers. You'll notice that I haven't used any chests at all because for futuristic builds they look awful. But shulkers are perfect, really. So we've got some infinite water sources, just some brewing stands. Again, I'd probably cover those up if I could. And then around here we have our storage. So the storage is entirely embedded into the floor, and you can get loads and loads of shulkers going around here. You could put some item frames either on the walls behind them or on the actual shulkers themselves. But yeah, for me, in a futuristic base, it keeps that clean look. So it's very minimalist, but it does actually have absolutely everything that you might need. And yeah, beautiful, beautiful views, as you can see from the building up there. And as we head over here to the other side, one of my other futuristic bases that's over there, as you can see, quite a big base, and one that will be hopefully getting a tutorial for in the future. So just as we drop down this drop chute here, splush. And again, I've just put a slab in the bottom there just to make it look a bit nicer. Past all the grunty villagers here. All that's left to be said is thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do let me know in the comments. I really do appreciate those. And also make sure that you do leave a like. Above all, though, make sure that you do subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I will see you all next time on ADcraft. Bye!